Well, welcome back to another video of Master Math with Ade. So in this video, we'll simply just be talking about quadratic equations, how to solve them, what they are, and much more in detail. So let's get into today's video. Master Math with Ade. So, under quadratic equations, we have many things to talk about. So first, we have to know a quadratic equation is always in this form. So it's always ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. That's the form of a quadratic equation. So we have a, b, and c. So these are simply constants, and you have to always note a is never equal to 0, because if a is equal to 0, it won't be a quadratic equation. It will break down the equation. So x is the unknown quantity, and solving a quadratic equation involves finding the values of x, which satisfies this simple equation. The values which satisfy the equation are known as the roots of the equation. So when we're solving this quadratic equation, once we find the values of x, those are simply the roots. Now we have three main methods in solving a quadratic equation. So the first method is solving the quadratic equation by factorization method. The second one is the completing the squares method, and the last one is the quadratic formula. So today we're going to be looking at factorization method and how to solve the quadratic equation using that method. So let's dive in deeper in that thought. So remember, in the previous video, there's one specific video which is factorization by the sum and product method, the quadratic way of factorizing specific terms. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is that video over there. You can check it right out. Yeah, so that video talks about factorizing something in case, for example, let's say we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Then we're told to factorize this thing. Now, if we're told to factorize, we obviously have to find the sum and the product. Now, this can be turned into a quadratic equation. So how? Just introducing an equals to sign and 0. Then they tell you to solve the quadratic equation, which is just this. Yeah, so it's just that. So if we're told to solve this quadratic equation, we just use the method of factorization. So if we do that, our product here and our sum need to be listed in order for us to factorize that. So our product will be positive 12 and our sum will be 7. Now if we find two terms, when added would give us 7, and when multiplied would give us 12. What are those two factors? Well, those two factors are simply 4 and 12. Sorry, not 4 and 12, 4 and 3. Positive 4 and positive 3, because we know 4 times 3 will give us 12, and 4 plus 3 will give us 7. So now we say x squared plus, we're going to substitute the 7x with these two factors, which are 4x plus 3x plus 12 is equal to 0. And now we're going to factorize that by what? Using grouping of terms. So we're going to say x, and then we're going to put there x. So we're using the common factor method. 4, and then there the common factor is 3. We'll say x plus 3 into 12 is 4. And then this is equal to 0. Now, when we reach this stage, you know what to do. We get this term and that term, and also the two ones which are alike in the bracket. So we're going to say x plus 3 and x plus 4. So this is equal to 0. So when we have reached this stage, we've factorized it. Now we have to equate each of these to 0 in order to find the value of x. And how do we do that? We're going to say x plus 3, which is the first one, is equal to 0. And then we find the value of x. So how do we do that? We're going to say x is equal to, this 3 will cross the equals to sign and become minus 3. So therefore, our x value is negative 3. And also the other one, we say x plus 4 is equal to 0, and we're going to take that the other side, and to be x is equal to negative 4. So therefore, our values of x are negative 3 and negative 4. So I hope you have understood that. Now let me tell you a little trick, a little simple trick which would help you answer quadratic equations much easier. So remember, we were just from solving this quadratic equation. Now just this tip which can help you solve this really quick. So we can solve this using the factorization method. Now we have to note, if a, so here the number which is multiplied to x squared, our value of a is what? 1, because 1 times anything is itself. So here, if we have to note that in a quadratic equation, if the value of a, the constant to the x variable, if it's always 1, the terms of the product and the sum will give you your answers. If you haven't understood what I've said, this is what I mean. We said our product was 12 and our sum was 7. And we said the two terms to which we use are 4 and 3, right? So when we have these two terms, therefore our x values are always going to be equal to these two terms. Now just flip their signs. So what's the opposite of 4? Negative 4. 3, negative 3. That's what I meant. But this only works for quadratic equations where the a variable, the value of a is 1, or the constant to the coefficient to the variable of x squared is 1. So you just find the two terms which you're looking for and then flip their signs, and then you will have your values for the specific variable you are looking for. So we're still looking at factorization. We will look at the other two types of solving quadratic equations in a future video. So let's say we have x over 2 is equal to 8 over x. And then they tell us to solve this equation. Yes, this is an equation. So how are we going to solve this? We're going to simply cross multiply. So x times x is what? It's x squared is equal to 2 times 8 is 16. So now when we're solving this, this will go where the x variable is. So we're going to say x squared minus 16 is equal to 0. And then what do we do from here? We're supposed to factorize this using the difference of squares. So if you don't know that, there's this video here which will help you with difference of squares. And after that, there's a playlist which will help you in all the types of factorization. So difference of squares, x minus 4, x plus 4 is equal to 0. So we're going to equate each of them. So x minus 4 will be equal to 0. So that means x will cross and then x will be equal to 4. Or x will be equal to negative 4. Simple. Or if you don't know how to do this, we can use a faster method. We have the what's this? So we cross multiply to be x squared is equal to 16. Once we reach this part, you can just square root. So this square root will cancel with that. So x is equal to the square root of 16 is 4. But not just 4, positive or minus 4. So x is equal to plus or minus 4. Because negative 4 times negative 4 will give you positive 16, and positive 4 times positive 4 will give you positive 16. So yeah, that's the end for today's video. If you have loved today's video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like, and the notification button to see our future videos. And you can check these other videos out right here to embroaden your knowledge in mathematics, and I'll continue helping you master in math with Ade. Bye for now.